Good morning and welcome to the Lowestoft Town Council Events and Communications Subcommittee from Hamilton House in Lowestoft. Sitting around here in the committee room are Councillor Naseema Begum, Councillor Neil Colby, Councillor Andy Pearce, Councillor Nick Webb, and myself, Councillor Barker, who's chair. Also from Lowestoft Town Council, we have Christopher Meek, the Lowestoft Town Council Events and Office Manager, and we also have Michael Winter, Lowestoft Town Council Comms and IT Officer. So welcome everybody. In the event of a fire, please follow instructions and directions to the fire exits and make your way to the assembly point adjacent to the Quick Fit building. In the interest of openness and transparency, the law permits recording and photography to report on the proceedings of council meetings when they are open to the public. No flash photography or additional lighting should be used without prior consent. Anyone wishing to report on the meeting or anyone not wishing to be filmed or photographed should notify the clerk or chair. The meeting will be live streamed on YouTube, therefore please remember to speak clearly and use your microphone, remembering to switch it off when you have finished. As the chair of the meeting, I have the discretion to suspend or terminate the live streaming if, in my opinion, continuing to do so would prejudice the proceedings of the meeting. Improper conduct or disruptive behaviour will not be tolerated. Please raise your hand to indicate your wish to speak and wait for me to call upon you. As chair of the meeting, I will determine the order in which members will be asked to speak. To ensure the efficiency of the meeting, no member may speak for more than 3 minutes on one item or more than once. Therefore, please make your points as concisely as possible. Please may I also remind you to be polite and respectful towards one another at all times. Please put your phones on silent mode and put phones away for the duration of the meeting and adhere to the no smoking policy of this building and its grounds. And welcome also to the meeting, Mr. Alex Morley, General Manager of Russell Circus. We will bring you in early under the public forums item number 63 when we get to it. Okay, so thank you for that. And welcome if you're watching on a device or at home. Item 60, to receive and consider approval of apologies for absence. Have we had any, Chris?
Chair received from Councillor Ravensbourne and Councillor Pitts.
Thank you. Can I have a proposer, Councillor Colby? Oh, did you do it first? That's all right. Councillor Begum proposed, Councillor Colby seconded, and a vote on the apologies, please. Thank you. That's unanimous. Item 61, declarations of interest and dispensations. 61.1, to receive declarations of disclosable pecuniary, other registrable and non-registrable interests from councillors on items on the agenda. Have we had any?
None received, Chair.
Okay, thank you. If something crosses your mind, just flag it up and I'll bring you in. 61.2, to consider written requests for dispensations for interest and note dispensations granted. Have we had any? Christopher?
None received, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Item 62, to consider the draft minutes of the meeting held on the 22nd of October 2025. Can I have a proposer to accept the minutes, please? Councillor Pearce and the secretary, Councillor Nick Webb, and a vote, please. Thank you. Councillor Brooks, you're abstaining. Okay, thank you. And welcome to Councillor Brooks, who's joined the meeting. Item 63, public forum, an opportunity for the public to make comments on any matters on this agenda and to consider any advance comments from the public. So, as chair, I'm proposing to move item 66.2, which is to consider any applications for events on town council owned land, forward to this item number 63. And Alex, if you'd like to speak to that item, thank you. Can I just say to you, if we get into any items that you mentioned to do with finance, then we'll have to go into confidential, just to flag that up to you.
No worries.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so hello everyone. Thanks for having me here today. I've communicated a little bit about bringing our circus, Russell's Circus, to Lowestoft, to Normanston Park. And the dates that we have in mind are from the 25th of May until the 31st of May, which is the half-term holiday. So it's a sort of ideal time to be in a place like this. And I just thought it would be good to come and talk to you about it. And if any of you have got any questions that you'd like to ask, then it's just so much easier to do it face to face than it is through email.
Thank you for that. Hopefully everybody has read the application which went out with the agenda. Any questions at all? Councillor Pearce?
No questions as such. I think the there's an odd date on the application in the format, but I mean that can just be tidied up. That's no issue there. I just noticed it when I was reading it. My only questions on the location would be that would need resolving. It's not an objection by any means, but I think it would need liaison with Ewan in particular. Our sports development officer, is depending which part of the park was being used, avoiding any clashes with any sports teams who are playing there during that week because it's in football season. Coordinating any schedules, and obviously I know it's mentioned in there anyway about tent pegs, but I don't know where it's proposed to use and if that will affect any part of the park that's used for playing sport. But obviously if we can agree what the potential damage will be and what the rectification is going to be afterwards to make sure that, I know you said like tent peg holes in particular would be repaired. So providing there's a dialogue between the organisers and Ewan for sports and Chris for events, then I see nothing really to object to.
Okay. Do you like to come back on that about
yeah, so
liaison?
yeah, so I've been down to the park and had a look on more than one occasion. And from what I can see, there's 2 football pitches closer to the car park. Looking at it, I think that there will be room for us to set up on the other side of those. So we wouldn't necessarily have to encroach on the football pitches as far as I can see, because there is quite a lot of space the other side of them. So potentially we're probably not going to be on them anyway. But that is something that we can liaise with happily. And we do almost everywhere we go, we have to liaise with somebody about something else that's happening. So we're quite used to that and quite flexible. So yeah, it's whatever we need to do around that we can. But I'm not convinced we'll actually need to go on to those pitches. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Brooks?
Yeah, so there's a big top, and obviously that comes with a certain amount of staff to put it up, take it down. A lot of those people double up as performers. There's approximately 30 of us all together. Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Bacon?
Yeah, I think this is great and all for it. But I would say that I wouldn't have the expertise or knowledge to say, yes, it can go ahead on that site or not. I would say we delegate to staff and let them decide whether it is going to be okay in terms of, the condition of the grounds and any, what you said, that it's football season and if it doesn't interrupt anything else. I think I would propose that we delegate the decision to staff.
Thank you. Councillor Pearce?
Decision arrangements to staff, because what's the name of the body, like the safety thing that you do on large events?
So SAG, the Safety Advisory Group.
Anyway,
Not normally, as you said, but happy to, obviously, as normal, happy to follow that protocol to contact the SAG team in East Suffolk and see what they say and any advice, but they will only advise on what we give forward.
Okay.
Okay, but as you said, if the delegation is to give with officers, I don't find that no problem, but obviously financial as well, etc. Okay.
Thank you.
So,
yeah.
Thanks, Councillor Pearce, Chair. So if it makes a benefit to have an immediate site visit with Alex, with the sports officer, to sort out location, etc., and obviously conscious of vehicles on site, because obviously protection of land. I know, and I've seen other sites that you've gone onto, you obviously use protectors on land, so conscious that all the logistics fit in and don't disturb the sports development officer's plans for that area and have any detriment.
Right, we've had a proposal, had a second. Councillor Brooks, did you want to quickly bring something else in?
Yes. You've got a kind of approximate price of £10. So obviously Lowestoft is a place where lots of people don't have an awful lot of money. So do you have reduction for children?
So we have there are various prices that people pay depending what day they come, to where they sit. We have discount vouchers, discount codes, which go out in the form of leaflet vouchers, online codes. We work through loads of other companies like Groupon, Planet Offers, Voucher, where people can get tickets at greatly reduced, below half price deals. Yes, there are different prices for adults, for children. So there's lots of different ways that people can get reduced tickets. We always offer out free tickets to local food banks or charities of that nature, to give tickets to people that wouldn't generally be able to come through their own means. So we try to make it as accessible and affordable to everyone as possible. Yeah.
Great. Can I just ask something else?
Thank you.
I've
Yeah,
only
just
got, I
quickly.
mean, I think it sounds great. Presumably you have no dancing bears and
No, with no animals, no animals.
will be
No,
harmed in this.
no.
I suppose this is really one for our staff as well. We have quite limited parking at Normanston Park, and
Yeah.
there isn't a bus route as such.
Mhm.
But Chris, can you see that being a problem or not?
If it's incorporated in the event management plan as normal, and Alex has visited the site, and obviously he feels in the event application that wasn't a problem, and obviously we'd like to see the event management plan as well. But as you said, we have no jurisdiction over parking. Complaints raised, that would obviously go to highways, and then that'd investigate with with the circus.
Okay, thank you. So we've got a proposal from Councillor Begum and a second from Councillor Pearce, and obviously you'll report back to us as it works through, and we can have a vote on that, please. Yeah, that's unanimous. Thank you. Well, thank you, Alex, for coming along, and you can leave whenever you like. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Right, so we now go to item 64, finance. Members were sent these out. The budget is at the moment. Can you put it on your screen, please, Michael? Thank you. Just any
The main events budget, not the major events where there's an allocation against specific events, but there you go, second from bottom. No, you've just gone past it again. Second from bottom on that page. Yes. So we've had no expenditure against that budget. I thought we had when we were using the old Excel version, even though it's very low. It doesn't really surprise me because most of our expenditure has been against major events, you know, where there's been a ring-fenced amount, particularly the larger one. I thought we had a small amount of expenditure, but I do recall the last time when we were looking at the Excel document, it was still very low. So sorry, I was looking at the 15 in. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. But there's 15,450, is there not? In the middle section. And then the zero next to it should be. Oh, beg your pardon. Okay, sorry, I'm misreading the column. Okay, so we have had 2,500 expenditure against the agreed budget. Okay, that's fine. I'm happy with that. Thank you.
okay, any more questions? Christopher, did you want to say something?
Obviously, there are still some outstanding invoices for PA, etc., to come through. So it's not a complete, and BHM 2825, there's still some things to come off that as well. We've just received the invoices. Obviously, one thing going back in regards to the Christmas line, there's obviously £2,000, and we agree. The committee kindly agreed to support Lowestoft Vision £1,000 with a light switch on. But from that other £1,000, is it possible to use for our Christmas events this year, please?
Councillor Pearce?
Propose we accept the request with a delegation to staff to spend up to the agreed budget.
Councillor Bacon, second, and a vote on that? Yes, thank you. And to remind everybody, that is an event that's happening this Saturday.
Yes, the 29th. Yeah, the 29th
Yes,
of November. Yes.
Yeah.
On in town. So from 11 till 3, Triangle Market. There'll be activities at the United Reformed Church, and then there'll be the light unveiling around 4:30, 5 o'clock, which kindly the mayor will be part of. So yeah, it'll be an exciting day for all to enjoy.
Thank you to the finance team for their work on that. Item 65, communications, 65.1, to receive a report on analytical data for engagement in social media and website. So over to you, Michael, for your report, which is very comprehensive.
Yeah, so again, so just the next in my kind of quarterly reports to you, just to show sort of engagement with things on social media. I think it's quite nice for you to see the numbers, especially over what I refer to as our 3 brands of town council, town hall and sports. I try and give a little bit of a sort of my sort of thoughts on what's happened, where we're going. Annoyingly, I did this a couple of weeks ago, in preparation for today, and Facebook and Meta have changed all their metrics recently. So your next report will have slightly different headings because they've tried to make it a bit more simple for people to understand, and it isn't. But so that's a pain. But yeah, if you've got any questions, sort of please feel free to sort of ask.
Right. So any questions at all? You've got each page listed out, the reach, reactions, comments.
Oh, then that's fine. Just to sort of let you know, sort of in the next few months, and I have sort of alluded to it in the report, but things like the town hall, with us gearing up towards opening, I'm really wanting to give that a completely different push. Sort of working with the town hall team on that. There's a few of their engagement things coming up, which I think will generate some more content. I hope will. So we're sort of looking at ways that can really grow. Sports had a big boost this year because we started using some paid advertising on that, which saw its numbers shoot up. Our big things always end up quite big. So yeah, if you're all happy, it's just really to note it. But if you've got queries or ideas, you can just let me know. And
Councillor Pearce.
Can I just ask, Mike, does this report go in the public domain anywhere? Is it available on our site for the public to read?
so well, as a meeting paper, it is
Okay.
in this.
So with that in mind, this is a tiny thing. It's not a criticism at all,
Yeah.
but in terms of the public one, it says RN, SPA, it's PSA, Patrol
Oh, okay,
Service.
yeah.
If you can just be,
I've got it.
but I thought the numbers were really quite encouraging in terms of like reach, and you obviously don't know what the reception is. You just know that it's reach, but it is encouraging the reach on specific things and that it's growing. You know,
Yeah.
faster on some things, slower on others. But
with the change in how they now do insights on Meta, and like I say, it's only in the last week they've changed this. I think reach is the thing that they've changed to be views, I think it is now, which I guess in some ways is a bit clearer, but then also, yeah, different.
Councillor Brooks.
A couple of things. And it just kind of confirms what I suspect, but the town hall project seems to be getting very limited. People don't seem to be. I know people are interested in the town hall, but there's something on the town hall project page that is just not engaging with people.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at it because it'll appear somewhere else, but when I look at it, there's very little engagement.
Yeah.
I don't know why. There's something wrong with that, but there's something wrong with what's going on there. It's just somehow not connecting with people.
It's something, yeah, like I said, I want to really beef that up.
Yeah.
In some way. I've got ideas, it's just working out what is manageable as well, for the people involved. So yeah.
Well, the other thing is a question which I should have checked and I haven't, but I did pick up that on the website where it says meetings, budget and loan and standing orders were written down that there were no scheduled meetings.
That's changed now.
That's changed.
Yeah.
Thanks, Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks for your work on that, and I agree with you and Councillor Brooks as well that we need to beef up the town hall as we lead into the future construction and what's going on there. So yeah, I mean, it's really encouraging to see, and you'll obviously report back to us again.
Yeah.
With the change system that
I think sort of quarterly works to see kind of a nice general overview. I'm looking
Yeah.
at these sort of daily. So, yeah.
Well, and that's also, and we're coming to this, the next item, is the how this all fits in the business plan going forward, which is really important. So, yeah, well, thank you for that. That's just to note, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. And having mentioned the business plan, I asked for this as chair to be put on here so that we can embed the Lowestoft Town Council business plan, which members of obviously have voted for to go forward. And just to say, this committee falls under Objective 2, and I'll just read out Objective 2. To support Lowestoft residents through events, activities and grants programmes aimed at building community cohesion, improving social wellbeing and civic pride, and addressing our declared health emergency. Now, there's a whole lot of other information on the summary, which I'm sure you've all seen, of the business plan. I mean, the big one is this one, but it's been boiled down to a summary, which we've all received. And as chair, we had a meeting with chairs on I think it was the 5th of November, when we all met to look at how this could be carried forward and how we make sure, you know, one of the problems with plans and policies, as we know, is that you can have them and agree them, and then they're kind of things over there and they're not real because they're not noted within daily life of the council or whatever organisation it is. So what I thought would be a good idea is for us to just look at a few ideas going forward for the new year, to have this on the agenda each time, and then note where this Objective 2 allies with what the work we're doing, which is really important. And also a bit like Michael has done with his quarterly report on social media, it would be good if we had a similar thing which would aid the business plan, as to say, you know, how many events we've held. And so we've got data information to then put into things like the assembly or the annual report or whatever. It's just a thought. So it's from the chair's point of view, I was just thinking, over to you as the committee to think how we can embed this into our meetings going forward. Councillor Pearce.
Yes, I agree, but to a certain extent, I mean, that applies to all the committees and subcommittees that are listed under the specific objectives. And what Karen of OCR Consultant, who produced the report that we've now adopted as a working document, was that what she had suggested, we need to treat it as a living document. Okay, so we need to own it, review it, maintain it, monitor it and update it in light of new decisions, changing challenges and so on like that. And so her suggestion was really that she suggested probably not trying to do it like this month, but because the run into Christmas and so on, but like from January, actually putting it as a regular standing item, and she suggested quarterly, on the agendas of the relevant committees and subcommittees, in the same way that we monitor the risk document, where certain areas of risk are owned by certain committees. So I think that really probably needs to go to December full council, so that it can be done for all committees, not just piecemeal one at a time, but that full council therefore directs that for all committees and subcommittees from the new year, from January, so that it is monitored across the board by all the committees and subcommittees that have an ownership responsibility. And all I would say there is that if you get one that's also monitoring risk, that it doesn't go on the same agenda. So, it will be risk 1 month and business plan the next, and something like that. But I would suggest that we endorse her recommendation and actually table that for formal consideration at December full council, so it therefore applies to all responsible committees and subcommittees.
Is that a proposal there?
Yes.
I'll second that, because I think that's how we, as you say, it becomes a living document, not something gathering dust on a shelf. Yeah. Councillor Brooks.
Yeah, on something slightly different, to do with engaging with the locals. We have talked about having some kind of quarterly whatever newsletter that goes out from the council, but that's I haven't seen much advance on that. And there are certain things that occur in the cancer update that would seem to me that the sort of things that should actually be in a community newsletter, you know, like progress with the town hall, progress with the thatching, steps we're taking about vandalism, that kind of, just, you know, anyway, that's just a question and thoughts about how we can take it forward.
Would it be an idea, Michael, obviously I'll bring you in on this, if that's an item on the next agenda of this committee, that we could look at that again? Or
Look at it quickly now.
I mean, it's on my list to do. I've been coming up with sort of templates. Admittedly, the last sort of month or two, I've been slightly
yes, you've been,
distracted by neighbourhood plan.
yes.
But it is on the list. It is part of the plan to have that. One of the things I need to start looking at is how we're going to distribute that. Is that just through social media? Obviously, it'll be on our website. Whether we're going to start looking at getting a mailing list together. If so, what's the cost for that? We're obviously in a little bit of a limbo because we're setting budgets for next financial year. So it might be that nothing comes in until that. So yeah, the new civic year is a perfect time to start sort of launching these new things. So I've got that in my mind at the moment. But it's on the list. I've come up with a few templates for how I'd like it presented. So I can certainly present them at the next meeting or something. And
Yeah,
we
because
can look at-
I'm just aware, Councillor Brooks, that obviously that is a good item to have, but if we have that on the next meeting, when we come to agenda items at the end, and no, just thank you, and just go back to Councillor Pearce, your proposal, and then I seconded it.
Into this, not just the newsletter to the community, but we used to have, I know it's much derided, but we did used to have regular columns written by the mayor stroke staff that used to appear in the Lowestoft Journal. That has not happened now for a few years at all, and I wondered why.
Unfortunately, I send them stuff, they don't always use it.
Sorry?
I send them stuff, they don't always use it.
Mm.
Oh, that is.
Yeah, I can remember when I was mayor, they did put in 2, whereas before there'd been 1 a quarter.
Yeah.
So they did do it twice, but that was all. Anyway, we're getting off the item now, but we can look at those items, I think, on the agenda. That could be something to add in for comms for next meeting. Back to Councillor Pearce and your proposal, because we need
Yeah,
to
well,
vote on that.
I mean, yeah, I did make the proposal. It hasn't been seconded yet. So
No, I said I'd second.
But just
Yeah.
to endorse really what Wendy was saying, I remember, I think a couple of years ago now, someone put a newsletter online that had been produced by one of our neighbouring parishes. I think it was Alton Broad 2 or 3 years ago, and sort, you know, in terms of an update of what's happening, and you know, and the suggestion was asked in the thread, why couldn't we do this? And I don't know whether that was just electronic or whether it was mailed. And obviously one of the driving factors that we have is the larger number of households and therefore the cost. I mean, we know what costs are from by-elections and things like that with mailing costs. It's not just the cost of manning the booths. So if we were going to do like hard copy mailers, as Michael said, that consideration would need to be given to cost. But whatever the outcome is, I think we need to, community engagement is a priority, and having that newsletter is a priority. You know, the format, whether we're going to have multiple approaches, there's so much going on that can get lost if someone's watching a meeting, and not everyone watches a meeting. And I think we have to find some way to try and capture that and get that out there. Because I think that many people now will still have no clue just what is going on here. It isn't just what you see in a meeting. But if Michael can take that forward under advisement, I know the neighbourhood plan and everything else, and yes, but obviously not just bringing it back cold to the next meeting. If Michael can maybe do some prep ahead of the next meeting, so we've actually got something tangible to discuss, and then we can all individually give some thought to it as well. But in the meantime, I would like to make that proposal that in terms of the objectives of the business plan, generally, and each of the named committees or subcommittees that would have ownership in different areas for those objectives, that based on the recommendation from Karen Stroke, OCR consultant, that we table an item for December full council to ask that full council direct all named committees and subcommittees who have an areas of ownership to consider their objectives and areas of responsibility quarterly, so that the document is treated as a living document and it doesn't just become redundant.
I'll second that, and a vote, please. Thank you. That's unanimous. Item 66.1, to note attendance at events of the Mayor and Deputy Mayor. That was sent to you on the agenda. So that's just to note. Thank you, Nasima. 66.2, to consider any applications for events. We've already done that one. 66.2, which we brought forward. 66.3, to receive a report of permissions granted for events on town council owned land.
None received, Chair.
Thank you. 66.4, to review and consider the following timetable of events. October 2025. So firstly, for this to take place, thank you to staff for all our work, and also thank you to those people who marked hundreds of entries, which took quite a while, I know. And Christopher or Michael, would you just like to report back? I did, as chair of this committee, put round a thank you note to everybody who worked on this, and also to thank 2 councillors who attended. It was so well attended that they ran out of tables and had to bring loads more out. So overall, I thought it was a real improvement. Each year it gets better and better. So thank you to everybody. Would you like to come in, Michael or Christopher, on what happened? Go on then.
I don't know what to say. I'm still recovering. Yeah, I think it went well. Obviously, unfortunately, we had booked 3 speakers, but 2 of them couldn't come due to traffic issues. So we had just the one, Alicia from Spire Black Suffolk. Also we had the dancing as well, dance element. Yeah, we had, for the competition, it was about 300 entries in the end, across, I think it's 4 or 5 different schools. So again, I'm never quite sure how to look at that, whether it's, because there are more schools, whether we want more of them to attend, but then also we get too many entries, it becomes, you know, almost overwhelming to then mark. We give ourselves quite a short turnaround, you know, just under a month from close of competition to the awards. But happy to sort of hear other people's views.
Thank you. Councillor Brooks.
Yes, it was really good. Very, very good atmosphere. The addition of the food was great. The dancing was a great addition. I have a comment to make about, we've obviously got good relationships with a few schools in the town who are really enthusiastic about the competition and enter every year. As somebody who does the marking, I really am. I said this half jokingly, but actually I do mean it. I would like us to somehow take a position on the acrostic poem, and somehow, I don't know how, but it's really, as I was an English teacher, and I find it frustrating that locally we are not promoting a better style of poetry than the acrostic, which doesn't really encourage children to write as creatively as they can. I don't know how we do that, but maybe I think there has to be a way that we have to give examples of good writing back. So we had examples of some really good writing and some nice poems. I think we need to make more of those. So we need. I think we should put them on our Facebook page, our social media pages. Not, you know, just as example. Obviously, redact the child's name if they say so, but actually to give examples, so that, because at the moment I think there's, I don't know, just somehow to say, you know, this is the sort of, it's not to say that the acrostic poem is nobody can write an acrostic poem, but please, you know, it would be quite nice if we could get people moving away from that, and maybe better examples in the schools. I don't know how we do that. Also, I do want to make a comment about councillor attendance, and I know it's not just at this event, but I'm really disappointed at the poor turnout from councillors. Like, this was a really good event. Michael put an awful lot of work into it. It was really well organised. It's a lovely location, lots of parents there. And I don't know how we managed to persuade more councillors to attend these events and see actually what we're doing.
Thank you for that, Councillor Brooks. I would agree that we need to try and get more councillors to attend. Obviously, it was 5 o'clock on a Friday, which is good for the young people and the families, but maybe some people who would like to attend couldn't because of work commitments or whatever. But I would agree with you. When you look at the enthusiastic reception of the whole event, which was brilliant, and it captures something special about Lowestoft and its community as well, which I think was really good. And we really need to encourage more councillors to attend these things. I agree, and maybe make it more accessible for them, and possibly ask councillors. I don't know whether we could do a questionnaire or something to say, you know, what are the barriers to prevent people from attending these things? I don't know. It's just a suggestion. Councillor Pearce.
Yeah, I mean, you can always encourage councillor attendance. I mean, I wasn't at this one. I mean, I happened to be a spare adult at a 3-hour school disco. You know, it's another community event that was taking place on the same day at the same night. It wasn't I was sat home watching the telly because I couldn't be bothered, or I didn't place any value on the event. And, you know, other councillors have other lives, they have families, there are other carer responsibilities, work has already been mentioned. I think we can always encourage councillor attendance, but we should be clear that we don't cross the line and then start sort of inferring that councillors who don't attend somehow don't care or don't value that event. And we need to be careful what the message that we're actually sending. I think in terms of encouraging creative writing, yes, fine. But equally, you know, we need to be clear that, you know, we're opening this event for children to be in. We don't actually want to be writing the entries as well for them. Or straying into the remit of telling schools how to educate their children or on writing, because, you know, they are the professionals. And the most important thing with this event is actually what it is, and encouraging the participation and encouraging the recognition. You know, obviously then the caliber of the entry can be dealt with within the marking, but I don't think personally that we should be too prescriptive about the style of what is submitted, because I think with an event of this nature, it's the awareness and the participation that is as important, because it is primarily to commemorate Black. Yes, I totally get that it is a creative writing competition as well as the more recent like visual arts one, but style is also subjective, and I think we should allow freedom for people to enter, and then it's up to the judges to take a considered view on that. That's my personal opinion. but you know, I make it for what it's worth.
Thank you, Councillor Pearce. Councillor Webb and then Councillor Bacon.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I just want to say, yeah, I was really chuffed to attend this event, having been asked to judge some of the entries. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. When I was I don't recall putting my hand up to volunteer, but Michael assures me I did, so I'll take that. And I have to say, when I did actually go through it, it was fantastic. It was really good, really worthwhile. The event itself last Friday evening was a fantastic event. I was really chuffed to attend. I brought my wife along with me. She commented after we left what a fantastic event it was and how well attended it was, and obviously the amount of pupils and people involved, engaged in it was fantastic. And I'll just leave it at this. I've been made aware of a recipient of an award on Friday who's gone back to school Monday, absolutely buzzing. And I think that's just a real endorsement. She's just gone back to school and she's absolutely buzzing. I think that's just a real endorsement of the event and its continuation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Bacon.
I need to declare, but when we're talking about the dancers, obviously they were my daughters and their cousins. I think just a little observation, maybe a small oversight. They obviously worked really, really hard to do that performance. They got together after school for about a month, practicing together. Maybe next time, if we do have participation in that way, just give them a little, like a bag of sweets or something, just to say thank you for doing that.
Thank you for that. All I can say is that the speaker, Elisa Soanes, she was buzzing because I gave her a lift back to the station and she could not believe the enthusiasm of those youngsters running round the room. Some of them so quickly they almost knocked over chairs. So yeah, absolutely brilliant to see that level of enthusiasm. And it's not an event I'll forget very easily. It was brilliant. So thank you to everybody concerned. Councillor Brooks.
Yeah, I mean, if Councillor Pearce might have forgotten that actually I was a professional teacher, so do know what I'm talking about. I would, a creative writing competition, I just don't want us to get stuck in terms of, you know, there's a format and there are certain people that are highlighted by the children year in, year out. They tend to be American. We have a number of Black British people and Asian people who could be celebrated. And I do think there is maybe a conversation to be had with some of our school, maybe when we send out the material, rather than just, it is about writing. I'm aware that when those children are sitting down and writing, they are thinking about the person they're writing about, which is great because that's what Black History Month is about. But I think we can elevate it to make them think about, you know, the many Black and Asian people who contributed to British history as well as just a few of the Americans.
Can I
stand by that.
Right. Well, before I bring in Councillor Pearce, having marked every year, I've noticed, which will counter your point, Councillor Brooks, the year 3 and 4 groups, the percentage, and I did roughly work it out, it was something like 2/3 of those, the ones that I marked, this is the writing one, they mentioned British Black people, which was completely different to what it was the first year we did it. So yes, I'd agree we need to do that and ensure that, but it seems as though things are changing. It wasn't I'll say the usual people, but it was people that were British in certain areas of our public life. So that was good because I thought that's an improvement. Councillor Pearce.
No, actually, I haven't forgotten that Wendy was formerly a teacher. No, not at all. But the original question was not about which role models the children choose. It was about the style of the entries. And that's what I was responding to, the style of the entries, not the role models that are chosen. That's a different, you know, that's a new thing that's been introduced in the latest comment. It wasn't in the original comment. the original comment was about the style of the creative writing and whether an acrostic really fits that requirement. But I say again, you know, Wendy isn't the only councillor who's a former professional teacher on this council, but the fact is, Lowestoft Town Council is not a school, and the councillors on here, regardless of their former professions, are not participating as teachers. So if we are putting out there a framework for entry, then within that framework, we need to respect that the children can choose their role models and put their entries in. The danger is if we actually try to write their entries for them, how creative are they being? But, you know, if you want to restrict the framework to British, you know, to British characters from history, British modern characters, then make that clear in the parameters. But don't throw it open as everybody and then be critical of the fact that actually the majority of the entries are American. Because with globalization of media, globalization of sport, you know, and globalization of news to some extent, I would say it's probably fairly inevitable that we're going to see that. But, you know, whatever our professional backgrounds, you know, we are not running this as a school, and we are not, you know, we want to encourage their creative writing, but we're not writing their entries for them. And if we try and prescribe it too narrowly, then actually I would suggest we're in danger, particularly when it comes to style. Not so much the role model thing. If you wanted to put more of a British emphasis on it, I don't think that's cramping creativity. But if we try and put constraints on style, then I think we are in danger of constraining creativity rather than encouraging it.
Right, well, as a former professional history and English teacher, I think after we had the last comment, that will be the end of this discussion. Otherwise, we could be. Yeah, I was just saying, have the last comment, please, Councillor Brooks.
I mean, I don't know why Councillor Pearce thinks by saying that we should discourage the acrostic poem means we're telling them what to write. That is certainly, in fact, I'm saying the absolute opposite. I'm actually saying we need to encourage them to explore different ways of writing and different people. It's our competition. You know, it's our competition that we do, and we want schools to participate in. I'm just talking about raising the expectation of what is a good poem and what is a good piece of writing. As somebody, I've marked it every year, and I be quite honest, I am absolutely fed up of the acrostic poem. I'm just being honest about it because it's just a list. It's very difficult to judge, you know, acrostic poems in terms of there are children who actually can use it in a way and make it quite interesting, but many are just, it is that they are, you feel actually they are being constrained actually by their teachers who are saying, right, this is, do that, and then just fill in the words next to it. Anyway, that's
I think if school. Thank you. So, I think but overall it was a brilliant evening. So thank you. This item. It's weird going on and off. The next item is the 9th of November was the Remembrance Sunday and the parade. Would you like to take us through that, Christopher?
No, thank you, Chair. Yes, you said a well-attended event again. Thank you to everyone that obviously was involved. Said cadets done exceptionally, and obviously we had a few injuries. One quite bad injury actually, but that was resolved in a timely and safe manner. Obviously we did encounter a couple of issues on the day as well in regards to timings and the plinth. Officers now have re-engaged with our partners at East Suffolk Council, and we continue to have dialogue in regards to that plinth. All officers will also be having a mop-up session in the new year with a working group. The other observation was one of the flags may need replacing. The discoloration is appearing. Obviously, there is no care instructions on them, so I'll have to investigate. But otherwise, we might need to purchase a new flag for next year. But officers will investigate whether that can be dry cleaned or need to be replaced.
Right, so is there a budget you need for that one?
Not yet, because there may be an option to have it professionally cleaned, or
Oh, right.
otherwise I'll have to.
And
I'll come back to the next meeting if not.
If you need a, I was going to say flag it up to us. Right, okay, so we'll await your report on that one. Okay, well, thank you, to everybody who attended, and thanks to the mayor and all the staff who worked so hard, particularly the ground staff who were there. I think was it 5:30 in the morning or 6 o'clock, really early, putting out all the barriers and so.
No, the
Can you send them a thank you from this committee? I think thanking all the staff and including the ground staff for all the work they do, because the fact it looks so good is down to their work so early in the morning. So thank you for that. Councillor Brooks.
So on Armistice Day, I was talking to somebody who'd been at the Remembrance Day event, and if you were standing near to the sea, the sound was really poor. And I remember that from the year before, that actually if you stand that side of it, the sound is really, really poor. The other side you can hear quite well, but I don't know what we can do about that.
The sound engineers, we've had different sound engineers, they encounter all the same problem. There is physically nothing you can do. Otherwise you have echo, you have feedback, you have cables, unnecessary cables all over the place, and obviously they're going to be a certain length, etc. And then you come into issues there. But it is
it's tricky because you've got the sound bounces off the buildings around Royal Plain, but then behind you it's just open sea. You've got the noise from the sea. There's nothing to reflect the sound off to help. It's a bit of a pain for sound, that area.
Somebody I know really well said that they felt there was a problem with the sound. The other thing they said was that large numbers of people had gathered that side, the seaside, which obviously we can't do anything about really, and then a lot of people, which we wouldn't have heard because we were away from that area, were talking constantly throughout the whole service, which frustrated this person. And I said, well, you can't do anything about that. But I think it was a lack of awareness of what was going on, meant that there was a lot of talking. But I mean, the rest of it, from us that were involved in the middle part, to me, it was a really good service. And as per usual, the Royal British Legion and all the participants played their part. But other than, as you say, having some massive system which would echo, you can't really deal with that because of the seaside of it. So I presume we'll just have to leave it like that, won't we?
We'll see if there's technological developments and monitor accordingly.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe, can I suggest that if this is an insurmountable problem, you give out lots of programs, you make it clear on that program that there are sound problem issues, restrictions due to the nature of the location, so that actually people know that if you're going to stand that side, which lots of people will, the chances of hearing very well what's going on are limited. So it's just a kind of a little bit of a warning sign, that so that people know that as a town council that we are aware of the sound problems and we are doing our best to, we can't, we can only do what we can do. But actually, I think if we don't say anything, it looks like we haven't bothered and we're not really interested in the fact, it's like, I think we have to say to people, we are aware of this and we know this is an issue, but there's very little we can do about it because of its location. And just to say that.
Councillor Pearce?
No argument with anything that's been said. My point was completely different. And I've noticed this the last 2 years. I just wonder, when it comes to the national anthem, the last 2 years, when you've had the brass band playing, they have all that flowery preamble that a lot of people are unfamiliar with. And so when the national anthem appears in the service sheet, and then you get that, like, people are like, you know, what's this? Because it isn't the tune, let alone the words that most people identify with. And so then after about 2 minutes, when it does kick in, people are lost. Whether there could be some kind of cue, you know, when the familiar bit's due to come in, because it was almost like a daft squid, because I think there was confusion, and it happened the previous year as well. I'm not familiar with all that bit myself from public events I've attended, so you know, I was expecting it this year, but the previous year it was new to me. I just wondered if there's something that could be done there. I mean, I know one year we actually had a singer there who led on the national anthem, and I don't know whether that's a possibility, but it didn't spoil the day for me in any way, shape or form, but I just wondered if it's something that could be taken under advisement.
Christopher?
No comments, Councillor Pearce. That amble that you reference is in regards to the parade coming onto the square. That's why that amble is there. And then it gently then goes into the national anthem. So that was a suggestion from the band as well, that they've experienced that in other events, remembrance events that they've performed at, and that was received. But take on your comments in regards to that, and then we go forward with planning next year.
Thank you. Thanks very much. The next one is the Armistice Day. So there were various services held around the town. So thank you for everybody who got involved in that. And then the plaque unveiling at Nest Park, which was very moving, with the Royal Engineers in attendance. And a number of people there. I was quite surprised that a number of people came along. So thank you to everybody. And again, the sound system was really good, because again, it's a bit of it's a bit wild and woolly there, but it was great. It kind of felt the right. I know it was the right place because obviously it was nearby, but it also felt somehow more moving than an official kind of being near the memorial. I couldn't quite grasp why, but it felt very Lowestoft and very moving. So thank you to everybody who attended and those that were involved. Councillor Brooks?
I bumped into some people who didn't know where it was. They sort of, I don't know if we could have had some maybe better signage in Sparrow's Nest or at the edge of Nest Park, because it was quite difficult to see where the event was from the road if you didn't know.
Many people don't know where Nest Park is generally. It's people always get confused because they think they had Nest and not Nest. So yeah, it is. Yeah, as you said, I think signage is being looked at across all parks anyway in regards to that. But yeah, take on your comments and maybe we'll have a flag.
Yeah, or a very large arrow. Yeah, well, thank you for that. No, it really was special. 21st of December is the Santa Dash, and I've been told, and I'm sure you can expand on this, Christopher, that there's it's 2K and a 4K option. So they've increased.
That is correct, and that's not a high definition television either. Okay, that is a distance.
Right. So obviously, is he getting quite a number signing up? That's important.
Yeah, no, yeah, as you said, you and us dashing through planning, planning for the day. Yeah, good feedback. Continue to up the comms with videos. Has the video been released last night, or is it the upcoming? So look out for an exclusive Santa Dash video coming out this week. Spot the staff member. That will be interesting to see. But yeah, Ewan is doing extremely well with planning, overseeing that event, and we very much look forward on Sunday the 21st December to see everyone participate.
And I know the sponsors are also doing their comms. They're gonna, you know, being an estate agent, they're getting up their estate agent signs with it on. So we've had all that approved, and they've been phoning up people.
myself.
Excellent. And
So-
and some of us have volunteered to be volunteer sort of steward type people. So I just hope it's not too cold and there's not a blizzard blowing us like so. So thank you for those people who volunteered to be stewards and supporting this. And thanks to you, and obviously if you can relay that back to him for his work.
Yeah.
So thank you. Right, the next item, the Holocaust Memorial Day, 27th of January, which is not that far away now. You have been sent some options because staff need a steer from us as to which way to go with this. So what we've got, there's four options, and if we consider each one, the theme for the next year is Be the Light in the Darkness. So the aim, this is from the paper, is to select an option that respectfully honours the victims, engages the community, aligns with our resources, which is staff as well as finances, and effectively communicates the theme for Holocaust Memorial Day 2026, Be the Light in the Darkness. So hopefully you've read the various options. So I'll just do the headlines of each option, and then we can go back and decide which ones to, if we can narrow it down to a short list, which would make it easier on the time for the meeting. So we've got option 1, as in previous years. That's item 1. You've got a format for each option. You've got the pros and the cons. So option 1, you've got a short ceremony, laying of flowers, wreaths at the railway station with talks from various stakeholders, bearing in mind the Kinder Transport history there from 1938 at Lowestoft Station. And the afternoon structured event in Kensington Gardens, and you've got the pros and the cons there. Option 2 is a hybrid and focused engagement, which has a simple laying of flowers at the railway station, no formal speeches. In the afternoon, an enhanced event at Kensington Gardens with pros and cons on that. Option 3 is Kensington Gardens only, with the format, pros and cons. Option 4 is no formal events at all, with the format saying that we don't do it, with pros and cons. Now, what are members' views on, have we got a short list so that we can focus our debate on just a smaller number without being judgmental in any way here from my point of view as chair? Councillor Pearce.
I wasn't sure whether to express a view on this because I'm not actually going to be there next year, but I do support this event and the purpose behind it. I think for Lowestoft, I understand the arguments that have been made totally and respect them. I think for Lowestoft, the tradition of having it on the station is because one of the Kinder Transport arrived at the station in 1938, which actually provided a direct and tangible connection between Lowestoft and what followed. And I think that's the tradition of that location. But I also totally understand the importance of Kensington Gardens, and obviously we have the Holocaust Memorial Garden there and the lectern, so it's also a focal point. I think the danger of having either wholly one or wholly the other, I agree with the pros and cons here, but I think with option 1 there's another pro, which is actually that having the two events gives people the opportunity to attend one who maybe can't attend the other. So it actually increases potential, and there's something on both the north and south side of the town. And I think also, whilst we have the active participation of Red Oak at Kensington Gardens, we have the active participation of all the high schools at the station. And if we were to move wholly to Kensington Gardens, then we potentially lose that unless there's a reorganisation to allow them to speak there. And I wouldn't want to lose them. I think the other danger, regardless of like what specifically has happened in any previous years, is the times we live in. There needs to be an understanding, which is in this paper, that Holocaust Memorial Day, unlike any particular religious festival, yes, it commemorates the Holocaust of the Jews in World War II and the wider Nazi persecution of the Jews. It also commemorates the persecution of other groups, which is millions, and genocide since World War II. And that is quite express in the Stockholm Declaration, in the governance documentation of Holocaust Memorial Day. And because of the times we live in, there are groups who feel, and I use groups plural, it's not a targeted comment, there are groups plural who feel they don't have a voice, or that if the focus is on one group, it's somehow against them. And just a mere mention of something can be seen as actually you taking a position on it, even when you haven't, is very, very, it's a tinderbox. The danger is, through no fault of our own, it can become politicized, and the danger is we walk into that trap. That isn't a suggestion or a reason not to do it, but it is something that we need to be mindful of and take into account, I think, in a risk assessment as how we manage it. I think on balance, personally, I know the recommendation, I totally respect the reasons it's been made, but I think personally, because of the history and because of the involvement of all the schools, my preference is still for option one, but for it to be risk assessed. And if we were to go with option two, that which I again would also respect, that there is some kind of consideration given to still involving the high schools.
Thank you very much, Councillor Pearce. Councillor Brooks?
I also support option one. I think we learnt this year that trying to split the event between the cinema and the railway station didn't work. We need to I think we focus in the morning on the railway station, that those people who are making speeches submit those speeches to Michael in advance, that we keep within our timing, and Michael then can oversee any, perceived problems or difficulties. There were problems this year. It's not really surprising, given what's going on in the world, that it was going to rattle somebody's cage. But I think it has worked really, really well in the past. The reason that we looked for another event as well was to do with the large numbers that were in the railway station. In the parcel office, it does get pretty crowded, but maybe we could have some kind of gazebo outside or something, so we have some alternate, most people seem to be able to get into the parcels office. I think it would be a real shame if we moved out of there, because it's got a significance. I don't know how many years has it been? It's not forever, but it is a few years that it has been at the railway station.
Been at the railway station since 2010, I think, 2010, 2011.
All right, so it's a significant history.
Yeah.
But I think, option one for me.
Would other councillors like to comment on which option they prefer or which ones they discard? So we've got two people for option one. Councillor Colby?
I must admit, I'm very much favour option one as well, because I think we have to remember that we are not the only people who have been involved with this over a number of years. And the railway station is very key to the whole story of why things have come about in the way they have with doing it. I think that, as well as that, maybe it's that we need to look at where the focuses lie, and you have slightly different feeling to the two different events. So maybe one is more about commemorating what happened and looking at the whole picture that way, and then Kensington Gardens is looking at where you go in the future and what you can do, and trying to prevent things. So it's I think there's a really good benefit to do things, and for us, really, Kensington Gardens was actually just something we started back in 2018, I think it was, with laying wreath there, and it has grown, but there is very little sheltered accommodation there to do anything. So I would go for option 1 personally.
Thank you. If I bring in Councillor Webb and then Councillor Begum, do you wish to say anything? No, okay, Councillor Webb and then Councillor Pearce. Thank you.
It was just to say what's really already been said. Option 1 for me. I think option 4 is a no. To do nothing, I think would be worse. We'd find ourselves in a worse situation than we were this year. So yeah, that to me is off the table completely. To reduce options down, I would be in favour of option 1 for the reasons that we've already all stated. Given the option, the importance of the train station, I think it's been held there since the reintroduction of the town mayor back in 2007. So yeah, it'd be option 1 for me.
Thank you, Councillor Webb. Councillor Pearce.
Yeah, I would just like to say I'm not revisiting anything that I've said previously or contesting anything that anyone else has said. Just on the recommendations, option 2, where it says hybrid and focused engagement, it mentions in the afternoon featuring a dedicated speaker from I think that's probably the AJR, Association of Jewish Refugees. Is that right? Whereas in option 1, it just says a guest speaker. I wholly support option 1, but I still think we should definitely encourage representation from the Association of Jewish Refugees, because it is an educational organisation, not a political one. And
bring that speaker to option 1.
Yes, and they have also, I know this from the Kinder Transport research, they also, when you go on the AJR page, they have also collected testimony from former Kinder who have chosen to record their testimony, and there's on the AJR page, there is a Kinder Transport page. So they actually have history with the Kinder Transport as well as the wider Holocaust commemoration. So I think any way that we could get an AJR guest speaker at the station event would be fantastic.
Councillor Begum.
I was going to say, can we not combine option 1 and 2? Because I think that would be good. We have the morning bit and we have all of option 2 as well. Is that a possibility?
Well, actually, I had written down here because I obviously as chair, you've got to listen to everybody's views before we go forward with it, because we'd have to vote on which one we fancy and decide upon. But to me, I'd written down here a combination of option 1 and 2, because one of the historical side of things going back to 1938, and obviously there's the placards on the walls there commemorating the Kinder Transport coming, but also because that has been the focus, as Councillor Webb has said. A number of us have gone back as far as 2007 onwards, I think it was, when Waveney District Council were responsible for it. So it has been a focus in some form or another for a long time. But equally, the children focused one, the primary school ones in Kensington Gardens, to me are something special again in that place, with the commemorative piece area there, as well as the information about the Holocaust and the different colours of the badges, which is really moving when you have a load of young children in there, again, reading poems and doing all sorts of things. So if we could somehow, as you've said, Councillor Begum, sort of get the information out there for the refugee speaker to come, that would be really good. Christopher, would you just like to come in on this?
Yeah, no, it's fine, Chair. Is it possible to speak in confidential session, please? Thank you. I don't. My comments would not be for public.
Yes, I think that's important, and also relating it to information that you've got to relay. Yeah. Okay. Right. So if we Yeah, I know. I'm just thinking about if we go into confidential session, if we go into that, we could go into that now, couldn't we?
No, you can wait till the end.
Or wait to the
To
end.
the end.
Yeah,
Mission.
okay. Councillor Brooks.
I don't really understand why we need a mixture of option 1 and option 2, because option 1 seems to say everything in terms of Kensington Gardens that option 2 does, so it's a bit more wordy, option 2. The thing that's missing from option 2 is any speeches from, I hate the word stakeholders, but participants could we use instead. I don't think anybody really has a stakeholder in the Holocaust Memorial Day as such. But I can't really see I mean, I would hate us to do away with the speeches. I mean, I'm remembering when we had Peter Aldous, we had the rabbi, and it was just fantastic speeches.
Mhm.
So I don't really know what the difference, why do we need to muddle it up?
Well, I think if we go into more detail in confidential, which would make sense, Councillor Pearce, if we make this the last comment and then.
But I also understand what Wendy's saying, because option 1 is already a hybrid. You know, there's a morning event on the station and an afternoon event in Kensington Gardens. And both of them need to be respectful and meaningful. And I think option 2 is essentially making the focused item the Kensington Gardens event, and the morning event essentially becomes a wreath laying event rather than an actual commemorative service. So the only thing really that I wanted to do in terms of taking it out on option 2 was the specific reference to the AJR speaker, because I think that's very important, and I would therefore like to put that into option 1. If the speaker can only make the afternoon, then have them at the Kensington Gardens event by all means. But if they are available anytime during the day and there is the opportunity, if the station event, you know, is going to be the one that the press are at and so on, then have them there. But I also totally respect what Chris is saying. It's also why I haven't said more. So if people feel able to speak more freely in confidential session because of risks and things that happen, then let them. But you know, what are we saying? Are we deferring a decision until confidential session, then it won't be known? Or are we making a decision and then having a confidential discussion about how that's going to be managed?
I would prefer you make a decision in confidential session.
Yeah, I think so. I was going to say, because the information that you've got may determine which way we decide. Yep. Okay. So if that's okay with everybody there, we will just put that on the back, but we'll just put it there and park it, I think is the right, just park it for the minute. Okay, March 26th, it's now March the 8th, apparently, 2026, International Women's Day. Michael? You? Or Christopher?
Thank you, Chair. So the theme is for International Women's Day is Give to Gain. Give to gain.
Give to gain.
And so that is the theme for 2026. Obviously, previous years, the International Women's Day has evolved. Has evolved because we obviously held it at different venues. We've had it at Gunton Community Hall. We've had the International Women's Day at the Triangle Market with a women's takeover. We had this speak at the Sam's Cafe. I would like officers would like to hear from you, please, on how 2026 and feels.
Yep. Okay, Councillor Pearce.
Well, as a bloke, caveat in my input here. I like the evolution that actually there are multiple events across the town, because if you have one event at one location at one town, people from the other end of the town are going to say, well, I couldn't get there, it's too far away, and so on like that. Whereas if you have 3 or 4 events, whatever it is, across the town, people can't make all of them. They can pick and choose which one they attend, but they've marked it in some way. They've commemorated it in some way. And I think it also shows meaningful input from us rather than tokenism. I think we do risk being accused of tokenism if we put on a low-key event, say like in the morning at 10 or 11 o'clock somewhere, and you know, and I think if we do something like that, that can then be promoted, and there's something that can people attend in person, if that's supported, you you know, which would be Michael and Chris again, was something that we then do online to promote it and push it. Then yes, to make it meaningful. I like the way that the direction of travel has been going, and I would like to maintain it.
Thank you. Councillor Brooks?
Yes, I agree. I liked last year. I thought it worked really, really well in terms of, I mean, there was one thing that unfortunately didn't, but, you know, hopefully could. What I'd really like us to try and do, I don't know if I think we have time, but I'd like us as a kind of like, as not the sole event, but as one of the possible, you know, mixture of events, is actually to either ask the East Coast Cinema, the Marina, who tend to always be booked out, or the Seagull, if we could have some kind of film showing of, you know, a really kind of good, feel good film celebrating women and their power. You know, not some heavy number, but some, you know, some good fun one. Maybe have Thelma and Louise.
Now happy.
The word that turned. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. Yeah, note your comments. Thank you very much. What officers will do, we'll go and explore the options you've given us. We'll come back with a briefing paper in December. Okay.
Great. Thanks very much. I am going to mention the climate event, and then after that, because I think a date may have been hinted at, and then we'll defer those other ones until the next meeting, because obviously we need to come back to confidential. So May 2026, the climate event, I believe, did the climate committee come up with a date?
I believe they agreed that in principle what was proposed to them in the briefing paper. So obviously just wanted to note that here. And obviously there will be a standing item on both committees. I believe some of the members from the climate committee would like more involvement, so I've got to reach out to them. Officers will reach out, not I. There's no I in the team. The officers will reach out to them in due course and find out their feedback and their ideas.
Yep. Okay. So again, watch this space. It will be on the list here. Councillor Pearce.
Totally accept what you've just said, Chair, about not going on to the later events because there's no immediate decisions to be made there. But just a conversation we've been having on email for anyone, any member of the public who's watching and may be wondering, can we have Armed Forces Day be added to the rolling calendar for future meetings? Because we have established that it is happening in June next year. So just so that then it can be monitored in the lead-in time and any questions can be asked.
Thanks for that, Councillor Pearce. I was going to, you know, under items for the next agenda, I was going to bring it in on that, but yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, but it's
the reason I meant
that's good.
Rather than have a standalone event, if it can just be in this list.
Yeah, that's what I was going to propose, because I think that way it's like an aid memoir for us all and for staff. Because I was aware of that. I think I did reply to you, didn't I? Yeah, I'm sure I did. Yeah, thanks for that. So 66.5, to consider an event to mark the 50th anniversary of Benjamin Britten's death. That's 4th of December 2026. So it's a year from now. And to think, I presume, about planning ahead for that on our list. Councillor Brooks.
I think we should. I do find it quite difficult, the idea that you have an event to celebrate a person on the day they died. It's 50 years since he died. It's kind of quite, you know, you celebrate births usually, don't you? Not so much deaths. Maybe we're just pushing it a bit. I don't know.
Councillor Pearce.
I actually misread this one originally because I thought it said 4th of December 25.
You're
So
right.
that's like next week. And also we've just had the unveiling for Britain as a Boy. So I thought it might be a bit redundant to do something this year. But I take on point the point that Wendy's made, but also one comment that had been mooted in this meeting, someone within the past year, I couldn't remember the exact date, because I believe his birthday was in November, 20-something of November, is maybe we're to have an annual event to mark his birthday. And then as that's only a a week or two before his death, that, you know, the one next year could mention this is also the 50th anniversary of his death, and maybe there could be something around that in like next year's event. But as an annual event, it would be on the anniversary of his birth, and therefore mark his life rather than his death.
Yeah, that's interesting, because when I was actually at Benjamin Britten High School, the youngsters would go in a minibus every year and put flowers on his grave on the 22nd of November, which rather than, as you say, commemorating his death, it was his birthday. That happened every year. So yeah, maybe we could look at that. Christopher, what are the...
No, I think probably it said the birthday probably is better than the death.
Yeah.
But I would probably reach out to Benjamin Britten Academies
Yeah.
and see what their ideas they've got, and maybe get them more involved in leading the event.
That sounds like a good idea. Councillor Pearce?
Can I also suggest, I think Wendy would probably be supportive of this, reach out to Diana Moore as well,
Oh, yes. Yeah.
because she's a mezzo soprano, but as I understand it from speaking with her when she was chair of Heritage Open Days, when she went to the Royal Academy of Music, I want to say she did a dissertation on Benjamin Britten, so he's something of a like a... She has a lot of interest in Benjamin Britten and his music. So, and as a local person herself, I think, yes, please reach out to the school that's named after him. But please also consider reaching out to Diana, because there might be a possibility of a performance or something there that she might be willing to engage in.
Yeah, a link up there. Councillor Brooks?
Yeah, another organisation that you could reach out to, Chris, is the Players Theatre, because the Players were very supportive of the statue, you know, kind of having fundraising events. And it might be that the people there, or obviously Ruth and people like that, we can conversations with Ruth and Seb Stones about next year. But I do support the idea that we kind of like maybe think of 22nd of November as being something we celebrate, but that next year we acknowledge it is 50 years since he died in December. But just a kind of, because that's a landmark, I suppose.
So we don't need, do we a formal vote? We just put it on our schedule list, or do we need...
Could I make a formal proposal that
Okay.
actually we do have this as an annual event, starting from next year on the anniversary of his birth, to celebrate his life, but that in the inaugural event we also acknowledge that it will be 2 weeks later, will be 50 years since he passed.
He died.
You know, delegate to our staff to make the arrangements, but including the two suggestions, but they not being exclusive, but reaching out to the school, reaching out to Diana Moore, the players, any other person who would like to be involved, etc., that the staff come across. Don't come back for permission, just take that forward.
Well, I'd second that.
That's fine. Obviously, just to note for budget and loan members to think that in their budgeting, please, for next year, because that's not been brought up by ourselves yet in our meeting. This is additional.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay,
Well, we can do, but can you also ask the Jill, who prepares the budget and loan agendas, to maybe put it on the agenda for the next meeting so we can give it formal consideration?
Thank you.
Right, so we decided we're having the 22nd of November, but acknowledging the 50th anniversary of his death, which will be 2 weeks after, and propose that staff engage with everybody that's of interest. Okay, so we've had a proposal, I'm seconding it, and a vote please on that one. Thank you, that's unanimous. Right, item 67 is going to be put forward, deferred to December, because there's a town hall community heroes. I won't call it an event. What would you call it?
It's not an event, it's an
online petition-y type.
not petition.
Isn't it?
Definitely not petition.
No,
It's a
what is
competition.
competition?
Nomination.
Nomination, that's the word I'm looking for. Okay, so we'll wait and hear about that before we go forward with that one. So that'll go on the agenda in December. Item 68, to consider the purchase of equipment to support commemoration events such as plaque unveilings. So, Christopher.
obviously we do a lot of unveilings and it's ever increasing. The town clerk thought it beneficial for us to have like an official unveiling cloth instead of a makeshift cloth. So possibly looking at a professional cloth with our logo on it, similar to the pennant that we delivered to Excelsior Trust, similar to that, possibly. But yeah.
Councillor,
Totally agree and endorse the request. And what kind of budget would you be looking for that, Chris? I know what the sign cost.
That pennant was about 600-700, wasn't
Okay,
it?
so if we set maximum budget then of 800 to come from the main events budget, and I'll propose that formally.
so Councillor Webb, Councillor Brooks, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was going to about what it's going to look like with the town hall logo, or maybe that one.
Possibly.
Could I
Come back with designs.
Yeah, but can I suggest that you use the high street? I'm not going to name the business, but there is somebody in the high street who could do a very fine job for us. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. Okay, so we've had a proposer and a seconder. Oh, sorry, Councillor Colby.
Querying something, in a way, you said to come from the events budget, but wouldn't it be better if it actually came from the civic budget? Because it is actually a civic.
So we haven't got a civic budget this
We
year.
haven't, no.
We didn't budget anything additional for the civic budget this year.
Yep, cool, sorry.
Okay. Actually, that did cross my mind, but you're right. Thank you. Okay, so a vote then on that one. Thank you. That's unanimous. Thank you. So that's 68. 69, date of next meeting and reports I've got on here. Wednesday, the 17th of December. That's the day after full council, because that's always kind of like obviously a week earlier.
Early this year, obviously because of
Christmas.
Christmas.
Yeah. And how enthusiastic we are, we wouldn't be on Boxing Day or Christmas Day. Okay, thank you. Item 70, items for the next agenda and close. Councillor Baker.
I'm not sure if this is the right committee, but we need like repair of the mayoral chain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right, okay, so that, does that need to be on
Obviously
here?
a cost, possibly have to investigate the cost, because I believe we had done a intermittent, it didn't work now.
Okay, thanks for that, which takes us to item 71, admissions to meetings. To resolve under the Public Bodies Admissions to Meetings Act 1960, the public be excluded from the meeting on the grounds that publicity would be prejudicial to public interest by reason of the confidential nature of the business to be transacted, namely any legal and employment issues relating to matters on this agenda. So this is going back to the Holocaust Memorial Day. Can I have a proposer, please, for that? Councillor Begum, a seconder, Councillor Pearce, and a vote, please, to go into confidential session. Thank you. That's unanimous. Thank you if you've been watching. We are now closed to the public.